Welcome to the Manny Perez Show, the show that covers, works on, and solves our community's issues. Yes, we can with the Manny Perez Show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Manny Perez Show. I'm Manny Manuel Perez, your democratic leader, community leader, and yes, entrepreneur dedicated to finding solutions for you, for every one of my clients, because that's the work I do. This program also works to find solutions, to propose things that make life easier in our community. Today we're going to talk about Earth Day. Yay! Yep, Earth Day, the day for our planet. And yes, we'll talk about our environment also, but we'll have fun. With us is our journalist, Gabriela Ascanio, and our production engineer, Julio Camacho. So, what is this about Earth Day? Well, Earth Day is April 22nd, this Thursday. And on that day, many organizations, leaders, and people will be celebrating the day by doing something to protect the planet, to improve the planet, to protect the environment, or improve our environment. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. Because, hey, we live on this planet. Actually, we live on the surface of the planet. And one of the problems we have is that a lot of times people don't realize that under the surface of the water is a whole nother reality. It's still part of the planet, but we have to protect it. You can't just dump things into the ocean, into a lake, and think that it doesn't have an effect. It actually does. And not just because you can kill off the fish or poison them. That can happen too. And in the atmosphere, well, that's another part of our planet. And not everybody goes up into the atmosphere. Some people, yeah, they like doing skydiving, they do parasailing, they climb the mountain, they do a lot of stuff up in the atmosphere. And it's a whole experience. That most of us don't do it, okay, it's our choice. I mean, a lot of people just like going to the beach, but going to the beach, you've got to make sure it's not polluted. You've got to make sure the water's safe and that you're not going to walk on the sand and cut your foot on a piece of broken glass. Little things like that we have to worry about. We have to worry about on a personal sense, but I'm just going to tell you, we have to worry about it as a community. We are one. And if something's bad in our community, it affects all of us. So today, Gabriela and I are going to tell you, this Thursday, do something. Do something for Earth Day. Do what you think is best. No, we're not going to tell you that we're going to have a big event. We're going to organize this huge thing. No, not going to say it. Because honestly, each one of us has to do what we feel is best. I live on 34th Avenue in Jackson Heights. That's an open street. So I've got an easy one. All I have to do is walk outside of my building and pick up garbage that I might see on the floor. I want to point out, this community is good. This community keeps that open street clean. Some people complain that sometimes there are food vendors that let things get dirty. Well, this Thursday is a day when we can even walk up to the street vendor and say, listen, it's Earth Day. Please clean up. Let's protect our planet. And we start protecting the planet wherever we are. If you have pets, well, same thing. When you're walking your pet, what are you going to do to protect your environment, to make things better? I mean, Gabriela, can you share your experience with your one and only pet?
I had a pet when I was like 7 years old, and it was a little puppy. And my mom and I lived in an apartment, and we left him alone like one night, and he bite off everything. He broke a lot of things, and then we left him alone the next day because we have to go out, we had to leave the house. And then it was the same thing, so we take it to my grandma's house in the farm, and it was my only pet. And I know that we have spoken about how animals affect also the environment, but I don't have as much as experience with animals because my grandma lived in a farm, and the animals go they go everywhere because they're in their natural space. We have a lot of cows and chickens and pigs and turkeys, and they didn't care too much where should they go to the bathroom or if somebody's going to clean up. I didn't have
Yeah,
that.
it the idea is that we should all be living in harmony with nature. And you did something which was very kind to that dog. That dog obviously could not live in an apartment. So you took him to a farm. And in the farm, that dog could be part of nature, could live naturally. And I'm sure that dog brought benefits to the farm, to everyone there. Now, I had a dog also. I've had cats, I've had dogs. I remember my last dog was a Weimaraner, a hunting dog, and I would love going into the mountains with my Weimaraner. That was overseas. When I was going to come to New York, I took a firm look at my dog. Weimaraners are big. They're wonderful dogs. But I said, this is not a dog for New York City because that dog was a fierce protector of my daughters. And I didn't want my dog to bite anyone. In New York City, that can be very serious. So I found a family, a friend of ours, who lived actually on the side of a mountain, and my dog stayed there.
And also, that dog would have been really sad living in a small space because they're really big. So
Yep,
nobody should put a big pet in a, I don't know,
in a
in a
small apartment.
small apartment.
I agree. And when I get myself a big house with a huge yard, then I'll probably get another Weimaraner because the Weimaraners are awesome. They're very smart. But let's get back to Earth Day. I invite everyone here to do what you can do to make your environment better, to make this planet better for us. We live in New York City. It's full of concrete, I know, but there are a few trees. You can kind of clean up where the tree is, that little round piece of earth. Usually it's round. You can do that. You can clean up around the flowers in a garden. You can take care to make everything prettier, cleaner. And that's something each one of us can do. And I'm actually inviting everyone, candidates, political leaders, representatives, community leaders. I'm inviting everyone, just do something yourself. You don't have to organize this huge event. Have I been part of huge events? Yes. I've actually even been part of an international day for cleaning up beaches. You cannot imagine how much garbage comes in from the ocean to a beach that you just cleaned because you know it was clean an hour ago and you go and walk and it comes in with the tide. I mean, Gabriela has some experience with that. What was your
Yeah,
experience with it?
I used to work with the governor. Well, not with the governor, but I used to work with the state, and we used to do like some kind of like in Easter, and we have the, how do you call the, in English, Manny,
Oh,
Carnaval.
oh, in Carnival.
Oh, it's the same. Okay, so we
Yeah.
used to go. a few places and we hand out small bags for your car because a lot of people tend to throw their garbage out of their windows. So we hand out small bags so you can put your garbage inside your car and then you can throw it out. That's what we used to do.
Yeah, yeah. And how many bags did you hand out?
A lot of them. We used to be like 4 or 5 hours handing bags to every car that passed.
Right. Because, guys, that's what we have to do. We have to make an effort. And yeah, you might say, oh, Manny, that little litter bag that you put in your car. Well, if you don't have a garbage bag in your car, that garbage goes on the floor. It might fall out of the door, or worse yet, you might be a litterer that just throws it out the window. And that's not good for anyone. I mean, you cannot imagine the things people throw out of the window of a car. And let's assume that most of them are kids that don't know any better. And by the way, I just said a white lie. I know that it's in many cases it's an adult. And that is actually pollution. It's garbage. And somebody has to pick it up. Or it ends up in the earth, on the sidewalks, in our water. Because if it goes into one of the collection, oh my God, I forgot the name of those. Boy, that word, I'm not using it much. But anyway, it goes into the water runoff, and then it just contaminates other things. And it might even block up our water drainage units, and then you get flooding, as used to happen in many parts of Queens, and it still can happen. So, guys, protecting the planet, protecting our environment, and how many more minutes do I have, Gabriela?
One. Less than one.
One. Less than one. Well, I'll just tell you something. Some people think that protecting the environment is using this when they're coming out of a special room. Guys, I understand. Ladies, I understand. But I do want to point out one thing. This is aerosol. This has chemicals that can harm our atmosphere, our ozone layer. And even if it does smell better, please understand, we have to think of the environment beyond just what's comfortable for you and for me. We have to think of the planet and of life. So we're going to be back in a moment to continue this conversation. And this is Manuel Perez from the Manny Perez Show, our journalist Gabriela Ascanio, and our production engineer Julio Camacho, and we'll be right back. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Manny Perez Show and our second part of our conversation on Earth Day, on protecting our environment, on what you and I can do to make this world a better place to live in. I'm Manny Manuel Perez, community leader, political leader, entrepreneur with a business where I train people to be leaders. So that's part of my work. With me is our journalist, Gabriela Ascanio, and our production engineer, Julio Camacho. So let's get back to protecting the planet. Some people really, we already mentioned, some people, they just don't think of anything beyond what's around them. They don't really care if the ocean is getting polluted, if the fish are dying, if the birds are dying. And some people will say, well, the government told us that DDT was good for us for years, and now they're saying it's no good. Well, the government learned. We sometimes make mistakes. We're human beings. But the idea is that we try to do things better. And I'm going to throw a little curveball now because Gabriela has some very good news for us. And I want you to think, what does this have to do with our planet?
Well, this is a really, really good news for me, especially for me because I just got my vaccine this Saturday and I am really happy because I tried for quite a while to get an appointment and I finally got it. And it was really quickly, it was really pretty organized, and it didn't hurt. It kind of hurt my arm for a while yesterday and for a few hours this morning, and that was it. I didn't have any fever or any pain or any headache or nothing. So I am really happy. Luckily, I just got the vaccine, the first dose. I'm just waiting to get the second one, and that means that many of us are getting the vaccine. So maybe we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we're gonna. I don't know. We thought that this thing was going to last like a few months, and it's been over a year, more than a year, and we'll still here. We are still here, but now we got the vaccine, and now many of us ha- have had it. So I'm really happy for it.
Yeah, and I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for all of those who have gotten their vaccines. In New York City, if you're over 16, you can go for your vaccine now. And please do. We have to protect ourselves. Now, what does that have to do with our planet on Earth Day? Well, if you remember last year, it is suspected that COVID 19 was started by people in a street market that were selling fresh meat from wild animals. Uh, I think it's wrong to be killing off animals in a forest and then selling the meat. Let's just start there. But the problem is that we got a virus that was in those animals and we brought it to human beings. And now we're facing the problem that that virus is mutating. It's part of our environment now, and it's changing. And the vaccines give us protection. Are they perfect? We're human beings. I mentioned in the first part of the program, human beings can make mistakes. We do it a lot of the time. I mean, our government promoted DDT over 50 years ago. Now we know that's a poison. Now we know it does a lot more harm. We sometimes promote fertilizers and they look great at the first tests. Then we discover that they're not that good. Same goes for some medicines. We've made mistakes and we try not to make mistakes anymore. But the most important thing is to do something yourself to help. Just do what will help. We mentioned in the first part, hey, clean up. Go into the street, pick up the garbage, make sure that your community, your neighborhood looks good. If you see a garden, hey, and somebody threw some garbage, pick up the garbage. I know it's uncomfortable. I've been there. But we live in New York City. We do have some public trash cans, and we have other places in which to put our trash, to put our garbage. Most parts of New York City, we get regular garbage pickups. I think all of it. I remember it used to be twice a week. Right now, it's because of COVID. In some places, it's not twice a week. But the important thing is we do have garbage pickup. Why is garbage pickup so important? Well, Gabriela can tell us about rats, not just in the subway system, but in the streets all over. If you don't collect your garbage, if you don't put it in plastic bags, rats will get into it. Hey, other animals might get into it. But we are careful. Now, you're going to hear about other things that people do to take care of the environment to protect us. And there, well, Gabriela was mentioning the problem of plastics.
Yeah, and well, I want to share something that happened to me a long time ago. I was with my dad in the car, and I was eating something, a candy, some kind of candy, and then I rolled down the window and I threw the bag to the street, and my dad stopped and he said, "Go pick it up." And I said, "Oh, but it's already on the street. Go pick it up." I was angry because he made me get off the car, and I went and get the paper, and I go back to the car, and he said, "Don't you ever do that again." And then if that usually happens at your house, because if my dad uh, didn't say that to me, wouldn't say that to me, I would have continued to litter, and that's not a. And when I eat something or I have something that I want to throw out, I keep it on my pocket or in my purse or in my bag or in my hand until I see somewhere I can throw the garbage. And I do a lot of people throwing things out of their windows, a lot of people, and that's something. If you don't care about the planet or the environment, why don't you care about the place you live? Because if you throw garbage and nobody picked it up, because maybe we don't have the people, a lot of people, to pick every garbage, every paper, every little paper on the street, that part of the city is gonna look awful. It's gonna attract a lot of animals, especially rats. And here in New York City, rats are a major problem. If you go
Yep.
to the train stations, you're going to see a lot of garbage on the trails, and you're going to see rats dragging a piece of pizza because they want to eat it. And if you don't throw that garbage, maybe you're going to have rats, but not that many because, well, if you throw something decomposed, you're gonna get flies. You're gonna get something worms, something that you're not going to like. And if you don't like rats, please don't throw the garbage out of their window or to the streets. That's
Or on the rails.
the least you can do, because if people do that on the streets, you can imagine how their houses are.
I know that in close to my mother's house in Woodside, we actually had a rat problem on the block. Well, on 2 or 3 blocks around us. So we had a community meeting. We called together all the neighbors. I called the elected officials, called the neighbors, and we invited the supermarket that was on the corner. We spoke with them. Uh, we mentioned that that they had pallets, wooden pallets, all these wood that they just stored in a corner, and we said, guys, rats are going in and out of there. Can you clean that up? They actually cleaned up the pallets. They started doing a better job of disposing of all the garbage from the supermarket, and immediately the rats moved out because we had the problem that we were next to the Amtrak rails. So the rats had a place where they could run, they could hide, they could do whatever they wanted to. But we found a community solution. And that's what I'm talking about. Each person doing what you can. April 22nd, this Thursday, just go out and do something to make things better. Picking up papers? That's great. Oh, you want to sweep in front of your door? Okay, that works too. Just do something to make it better. Remember, we might live in a city that has very little green, but we can improve it. We can improve it. And all we have to do is, the other way to improve your environment is smile and then say, hey, Gabriela, how you doing? And her smile adds to our good environment. And some of you might say, oh, Manny, that's foolish. No, it's not. We pull together. This city has taken care of most of its smog problem. It had very bad smog problem. Most of its litter problem. It was bad. And right now, most of our neighbors that have pets carry bags so that when their pet does their thing, everything gets scooped up. You don't run the risk of stepping on it and bring it into your house. And everything smells better too. So, guys, remember, let's protect our planet. It's Earth Day this Thursday. I think every day should be Earth Day. So please, and post on Facebook, what did you do on Earth Day? Make it your Earth Day. So I think I ran out of time, right, Gabriela?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Gabriela, for sharing with us today. And we will be with you next Monday at 7 p.m. with another topic about finding solutions, finding ways to live better. And this is Manny Manuel Perez with the Manny Perez Show, our journalist Gabriel Ascanio, and Julio in America TV Productions, making sure that everything is perfect for you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Manny Perez Show, the show that covers, works on, and solves our community's issues. Yes, we can. The Manny Perez Show.